I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'd like to talk about the month of February, which we will have a lunar and solar eclipse, which always flavors the month with things that are secret that are about to be revealed. See, eclipse energy is where the light of the sun is darkened. So out of the dark comes the things that we didn't know about. So many things in our own personal lives, as well as in the world affairs, will come out and will be revealed this month. So watch out, because the media is going to come out with many things that aren't true, and then again, some things that we have proof that are true. Now, this eclipse occurs at 14 degrees of Aquarius. And with this eclipse, we have Neptune and Ketu. Ketu is the south node of the moon. And remember, I am doing Vedic astrology, which is different than Western astrology, and the signs fall backwards. So I'm looking at this 14-degree Aquarius eclipse that occurs with Ketu, Neptune, and Mercury. So Mercury is all about communication skills in the media, which means so many things are going to be rampant coming out in the media, truths and things that are not true. But this is going to be the defining month where some proof will come out to really define what is true. But always with Neptune, you never know. And there is a lot of things that we do not know. Now, I'm going to say that this eclipse being in Aquarius, because it's at 14 degrees, this is going to affect Hillary Clinton in a negative way. Because looking at the chart of her daughter, Chelsea Clinton, that is, her sun is at 15 degrees of Aquarius. And her sun is with K2 in her birth chart, and it is 8th from the moon. And this was what I particularly was pointing out when we looked at but her daughter Chelsea's chart before the election, and I said Hillary will not be the president regardless of all the circumstances that came in between. But that was this eclipse really deals with scandals and humiliation, and I believe that this will have an effect that it's not over. All that we heard about Hillary will surface more so at this time. But in August, there's going to be another solar eclipse, more intense, because it is going to be a total solar eclipse. And it occurs at 4 degrees of Leo. Now, this is a time that's going to be very difficult for Donald Trump, because that is his Mars and that is his ascendant. So we have this thing going back and forth still with these political parties. Things will not rest. With their leaders, things will not rest. Things are still going to be coming out about each other, just as though we were going through the election still. It's not going to stop. But you're going to see in February, things are going to come out that it's not over. All of the scandals and humiliation for Hillary. Now, this eclipse occurs in the nakshatra called Shatabhishak. And Shatabhishak is called the 100 Healers. I love that. And it's also called the Sky Watcher, which deals with astrology, and it deals with healing, and healing things that are very hard to heal. See, Shatabhishak is one of the lunar mansions, one of the nakshatras that we talk about in Vedic astrology. And it's a very difficult nakshatra, but it does deal with ultimate healing of things. And I have said so many times that there are cures for diseases that are surfacing right now. And primarily because Jupiter right now is transiting through the sign of Virgo. Virgo is all about health and healing. And I believe there's going to be magnificent cures, because not only is Jupiter in Virgo, but it is exactly opposed Uranus this whole month. And Jupiter is going to station. It's going to station this month. And when it stations, it's going to turn retrograde. So this is really important. It's going to be February 6th that it stations to turn retrograde, and it will be 29 degrees of Virgo, exactly opposed Uranus, which is at 29 degrees of Pisces. Now, another interesting thing is Saturn just came into Sagittarius about January 27th. And as Saturn came into the sign of Sagittarius, you're going to see fundamentalism brew and become stronger throughout this year. But you see Saturn's going to go back and forth around the last degrees of Scorpio and the very early degrees of Sagittarius. And the last degrees of a water sign, as well as the very first degrees of a fire sign, are called Gandanta. And it literally means drowning. And so what that means is there's going to be a lot of floods, there's going to be a lot of rain and drowning. And the other aspect of it is it may be figuratively that we all feel like we're losing control, that we're drowning. And this is so many things that have been stirred up and coming about this year. This will be one of the most record-breaking years for events that you've ever seen. You wait and see. It's just starting. Now, another thing is that Jupiter at 29 degrees of Virgo is conjunct the fixed star Spica. And one of the things that I love to talk about is when we have these degrees, these exact degrees that are conjunct fixed stars, it brings out the meaning of this fixed star. This is the most auspicious. Spica represents literary genius. It represents musical ability, represents talent, the arts, sculpture, painting, anything to do with beautiful creations. And because it's so auspicious and Uranus is exactly opposed it, this could be the reason, and I believe it is the reason, why the stock market has been at some of its greatest highs ever. And nobody's been predicting this. Why? Because Uranus is unexpected. Jupiter is on the most auspicious star in the heavens, and this has made the economy and things go off the charts. And it will continue, because you see, it's going to be there pretty much a whole month of February. This is unheard of. February is normally a month where the stock market falls. But with this energy, but when Jupiter turns retrograde, I believe it's going to have a change. Furthermore, when I'm looking at Venus, Venus is the planet that deals with mega ultra wealth. Now, Venus just entered into Pisces, and the sign of Pisces is its exalted sign. It's the best Venus can be in. And Venus in Pisces will bring wealth to many. And furthermore, it's going to go retrograde. In February, Venus is going to turn retrograde in, March 4th. It will turn retrograde, and it will remain retrograde till April 15th. When planets are retrograde, they are closest to the Earth. And if you go out in the night sky, you'll wonder, what is that huge white shining object in the sky? Because it's so big, it doesn't even look like a planet. It looks like an airplane. It's huge because it's retrograde. And the fact that it's in Pisces makes it so powerful. So because Venus does rule love, romance, it can bring back old flames, old loves, old feelings and memories and sentiments of the past concerning love and relationships. So watch that as Venus turns retrograde next month in March through April. But when a planet is retrograde and it is exalted, this means it becomes like a debilitated planet. So I think around this time will be the times when the stock market could go down, but it will rise again when Venus goes direct. And Venus will stay in Pisces, well, really between now, when it moved into Pisces January 27th, and it will stay there till June 1st. June 1st. So it is in this exalted sign for a little over 4 months. This is unusual because Venus only stays in a sign per month. So this is going to bring out some of the most beautiful things: love, harmony, wealth, and Jupiter stationing on that fixed star will bring out wealth as well. This has been a huge surprise. Another thing is that I went back to the very last time that we had this actually, it's a solar eclipse where we have the solar eclipse. K2 is conjunct Neptune. Now, K2 conjunct Neptune happens probably around every 18, 19 years. This is not a huge big deal, but it is in the sign of Aquarius that it will stay. I mean, that the very last time that K2 was conjunct Neptune in the sign of Aquarius, this was actually the year of 1849. So as an astrologer, we have to, once we find these specific planetary conjunctions, we have to go back in history and see what occurred before. What did it produce before? And going back, I found that in 1849, the most significant thing that occurred was the outbreak of cholera, and it killed many, many, many. And so I suppose that during this year, when we're having this solar eclipse that is K2 with Neptune, the eclipse is with K2, of course, and Neptune. And this has to bring out something to do with disease, because remember, it's in the nakshatra Shatabhishak, which deals with healing. We have Jupiter in Virgo, deals with healing, and we have Saturn in the very last degrees of Scorpio. This is the tail of the scorpion. Remember, this deals with poisons. So this can deal with something to do with poisons. Now, cholera was contracted by dirty water back in the years of 1849, and so it's something to do with water. We've got all these planets that are Gandanta. We've got Saturn in the tail of the Scorpio, and water poisons. So I suspect that there could be some outbreak of poisons in the water that can affect many of us and many people around the world. So this could be either some kind of terrorism, or it could just mean that the water is impure and this is making a lot of people sick. So another thing is that I want you to know that, of course, this deals with storms. So possibly with the storms and the water, it can become impure and dirty. So that's one thing that I think that this Neptune and K2 will produce in the sign of Aquarius. But one more thing that happened in the year of 1849, or around that time, was the Spiritualist Movement. And this was, back in the time when Lincoln was in the White House. And back then, they had so many diseases that affected their children, and so many people, almost every family had a loss of a child due to disease back then. It was before penicillin. And so many people lost a child. So the spiritual movement took over because people had seances where they would contact people from the other side to talk to them so they could have peace, to feel like they were in connection with those that they lost. And so they had seances. Even Lincoln had seances in the White House because the loss his wife felt so strongly about the loss of two of their children. So that's something that was going on all over. But out of the spiritualist movement came the beautiful writings of Emerson, Thoreau, Madame Blavatsky. So everyone was really into this connection with spirit. It was a phenomenal time and very different from the times we have today. So I suppose that people are going to be becoming more interested in spirituality and connecting to spirits and guides and things that are beyond this world. And even, yes, aliens. It is something that I see with Aquarius and all of the nakshatras and the energy that's coming out. So another thing I said about healing. Remember the nakshatra that this eclipse is occurring in. Shatabishak deals with healing. And Neptune and this nakshatra both deal with alcoholism. Neptune rules alcohol and actually all addictions. And so does Shatabishak. Shatabishak deals with healing hard to heal diseases, which is addictions, but specifically alcoholism. And I believe there's going to be some discoveries that could bring out something in a way that we understand this disease, mental diseases, and how to cure them. So eclipses always bring out a time when things become unstable, and it's a season for earthquakes. Earthquakes will be more prevalent and volcanic eruptions, all sorts of things that shake the earth because there's so much emotion around the earth. People are angry, and this isn't just in the United States, it is global. There is so much that is being stirred up right now because not only is Jupiter opposing Uranus, but they are squaring Pluto. Still, Pluto is in this square. It's at the midpoint of Uranus and Jupiter. And this is causing all sorts of shakeups in the world. Now, what I do when I try to figure out where are these earthquakes occurring in accordance to the eclipses, you look to the eclipse path where it is seen on Earth. This is where there's the most likelihood of more earthquakes. And during this season, eclipse season, it's going to be in South America as well as South Africa. That is the eclipse path. But eclipses are good for a year, and even the one that's going to be occurring in August is already having an effect on us. And this one goes from right through the center of the United States, starting in Oregon, going right across the United States, all the way through around West Virginia or South Carolina, right through the center. So eclipses will be more prevalent in the United States coming up very soon. Even this eclipse can start the shakings here in the US. So this is important. So if I just want to give you a lowdown of what's to be happening and so significant, things are going to become so intense this month. The economy is doing great. The stock market is soaring. But we have the propensity for more earthquakes around the world, flooding, storms, drownings, and people feeling out of control. There will be medical discoveries, probably something to do with maybe the floods that create disease, but it will bring out discoveries that we can get more in touch with problems, mental problems such as addictions, these type of diseases. So I get, though, that if any of you have a planet around 29 degrees of Virgo, this is going to be an exceptional and exciting year for you because this is something wonderful and auspicious is due to happen. Remember, scandals become more prevalent. Things come out of the dark, and take a look in your own life to see what is being revealed, because all of us have something to be revealed, so we can see how we can change our lives to be a better person, make our lives better. That's what astrology is for. So if you can take this period and contemplate on what it is out in your world that's being revealed so that you can change your life. This is such a positive thing. And always pay attention. Once you have the eclipse energy of what's being revealed, then contemplate 2 weeks later at the time of the full moon. I know there's a lunar eclipse that's happening February 10th. This will bring out amazing things we didn't know about. But then the solar eclipse has more to bring that we didn't even know about. Scandals and mainly something important for you to know about your own life. So with that, I'd like to close. And I just want you to know, if you would like to know more about the fixed stars, I am writing a series now on specific fixed stars in my magazine. It is astrologicmagazine.com. And remember, if you would like to schedule a reading, you can always go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. And if you want to learn Vedic astrology, I have a University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.